Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Helloween month. Now, since last year I did horrorcore hip-hop for the month of October, this year I decided to dedicate the entire month to the legendary band that invented the power metal genre, Germany's very own Helloween. Now, over the course of the month, I'll be reviewing the band's first, second, third, and sixth albums. Why are we skipping albums 4 and 5? That's a story for another day. So, the first album we'll be covering is the band's 1986 debut, Walls of Jericho, which is the only album in their discography to feature co-founder and guitarist Kai Hansen on vocals before he was replaced by Michael Kiske for the two following Keeper of the Seven Keys albums. On a side note, I don't know anything about wrestling. I don't care for it at all. I'm much more of a boxing guy personally, but I remember that professional wrestler Chris Jericho was on That Metal Show way back in the early seasons, which, for those who aren't aware, That Metal Show was a metal talk show that used to be on VH1 some years ago that was hosted by metal radio personality Eddie Trunk and Jim Florentine and Don Jameson. Used to be a good show that was on VH1 Classic, but I digress. Chris Jericho was on that show, and I remember him telling Eddie Trunk and the other guys that he specifically took his stage name from this album. Just thought it was something interesting that I just wanted to state before we get into it. So, without further ado, let's dive into our review of Helloween's 1986 debut album, Walls of Jericho. Number 1, Starlight. A decent way to start the album. More along the lines of classic heavy metal here, but you can definitely hear early elements of the power metal sound the band would go on to define on their following albums. I would say this one is more speed metal with some heavy metal elements added in. Really great guitar work by Kai Hansen and Michael Wyckoff, and Hansen's voice, although not the greatest, is serviceable enough. Also, a really catchy hook on this one as well. I give this one a 7 out of 10. Number 2, Murderer. This song actually surprised me quite a bit. There's a bit of Priest influence in here, definitely. It feels like a power metal / speed metal version of a Judas Priest style song. Just listen to that hook and tell me you can't picture Halford singing that. It's definitely what it would sound like if Priest tried to write a power metal song. I give this one an 8 out of 10. Number 3, Warriors. Another really good track here. Talk about keeping the momentum going. We start off with fucking gunshots before sliding into a galloping frenzy of melodic riffs. This shit sounds absolutely amazing. It brings to mind vivid images of charging forward into war. It certainly lives up to its title. It's like planes dropping bombs, or Napoleon soldiers, like I said, charging into fucking war, or Spartacus killing Batiatus and freeing the slaves from the ludists. I don't fucking know, but this shit is fucking badass. Nothing more to say. 10 out of 10. Number 4, Victim of Fate. This one's an alright track. Another very fast-forward driven one, in the same vein of what we've heard thus far. However, this one falls a tad bit short, mainly during the chorus. The rest of the song is serviceable as is. It's actually pretty decent. But that hook, man. I kinda see what Kai Hansen was going for, but in my humble opinion, a different approach to vocal cadence would have benefited this song a lot more during the chorus. The guitar work is certainly present, but not particularly memorable this time around. Not a terrible song, but not one I would voluntarily seek out to listen to. I give this one a 3 out of 10. Number 5, Cry for Freedom. My notes on this song strongly resemble those of the previous one. Not a terrible track by any means, but not particularly memorable either. I wouldn't skip it if it came on, but I wouldn't go go out of my way to go and find it to listen to it either. It has its moments, but overall it's too damn long. At 6 fucking minutes, and it's kind of all over the place structure-wise, with another forgettable hook. I give this one a 2.5 out of 10. Number 6, Ride the Sky. Definitely an improvement here. This song is actually pretty damn great. It has all the hallmarks of what I'm looking for in this style of music. A lot of speed, a lot of melody, and a top-notch hook. It's catchy as all hell. And in this song, the band take it one step further, mixing in some thrash metal elements and even some heavy metal elements as well to complement the speed and power metal. I give this one a 9 out of 10. Number 7, Reptile. So, here we go again. I wasn't loving this song initially, but I was liking it enough to continue on listening, until it reached the godforsaken hook. It sounds so generic heavy metal. I don't know, it didn't appeal to me personally at all. In my opinion, I just don't think it works. Again, I feel different creative choices could have made this one a lot better. 3 out of 10. Number 8, Guardians. I love how this song starts. Now, I've always retained the opinion that Marcus Grosskopf isn't given nearly enough credit for how unique his approach to bass playing is. His technique is truly his own, and his bass lines always stand out in almost every Helloween song they've ever made, choosing to never simply follow along with the guitar melody. Again, everything is firing on all cylinders here, music-wise, and vocally as well, with another earworm of a hook to bring it all together. I give this one a 9.5 out of 10. Number 9, Phantoms of Death. Again, another song that wears its Priest influence proudly on its sleeve. You can't listen to this and not think of Halford, Tipton, and Downing creating something similar. As much as I respect the band's homage to Priest and their style, personally, this is not the greatest song, in my opinion. Now, some parts I really like. Sometimes the vocals and guitars sound great, but at certain points they just fall flat. Like the chorus. Yes, it screams Priest in every way, but that doesn't mean it's automatically good. I give this one a 4 out of 10. Number 10, Metal Invaders. Now, as a general rule, I'm usually adverse to any metal song that actually has the word metal in the title, out of fear that they'll come off as proclamations of how, quote-unquote, metal the band members actually are in their everyday lives. But like the saying goes, rules are meant to be broken. And goddamn if it wasn't worth it in this case, because this song is fucking awesome. You're hooked from the start. The second you hear those thunderous guitars and drums come in, you know it's about to be fucking on. This one has amazing guitar work and melodies, and not only a really catchy hook, but also a really catchy bridge section as well. This shit makes me just want to pick up my Ibanez and practice for the rest of the day and do nothing else but practice. I feel like I can conquer the fucking world when I listen to this. I give this one a full 10 out of 10. We're down to the last 4 songs of the album. Number 11, Gorgar. This one builds the initial tension with a very Yngwie Malmsteen style intro during the first 30 seconds. Then it goes into more standard heavy metal territory, with mid-tempo chugging very much reminiscent of mid-80s metal. I hate to keep bringing it up, but once again, here we go with a fucking subpar, generic-ass metal hook that just does nothing for me. There are a few really sick guitar moments here and there from Wyke and Hansen, but not nearly enough, nor is it consistent. Like I've stated with some of the previous songs, a few slightly different creative choices could have really brought this song to its full potential. But it is what it is. I give this one a 4 out of 10. Number 12. Heavy Metal is the Law. Now look, I know I've repeated the same sentiment multiple times. Helloween as they exist now in this iteration as the supergroup with 3 guitarists and 3 singers. This song was obviously on this album only sung by Hansen, and the vocal cadence is slightly different, but I implore you, if you like this song even a little bit, stop what you're doing, go to YouTube, search Helloween How Many Tears Live, United Alive concert, and listen to that. It's played almost exactly the same, but it's so much better. It sounds more clear, obviously because it's more recent and not from 1986, not from 40 years ago. And it's adapted just enough cadence-wise, vocally, to accommodate Michael Kiske and Andy Darius to sing along with Kai Hansen. And the live version fucking kills it. I'm telling you, if you think that this song is good on even the smallest, slightest level, go listen to that live version. It is something to behold. It sounds so full and powerful and melodic with the 3 guitars, and then with Darius singing one section and then passing it off to Hansen and then passing it off to Kiske, and then they all sing together on the bridge and the chorus. It is phenomenal, and their voices are so different from one another that the contrast really helps each section stand out. And then when they come together to sing the bridge and the chorus and all their voices overlap over one another, you can just hear the different frequencies and the layers because of their different vocal ranges. It is fucking sick. Go watch it. Sorry about that ramble, but I just had to get that out. Overall, fucking amazing song. 10 out of 10. And the final song of the album, number 14, is called Judas. So, this song is pretty good. Excellent melodic guitar work, plenty of speed, and a decent enough hook. Nevertheless, it's an odd choice as the album closer, considering the previous song that came before. Now, as I just said, that song was fucking phenomenal, and it actually felt like it was intended to be the album closer, both lyrically and structurally. But instead, we get this song as our curtain call track, and while it's a pretty strong piece on its own, it doesn't really feel like an album ender, in my opinion. It feels like it should have been placed much higher in the track list. I mean, literally anywhere else on the fucking album would have been more fitting than at the end. But that aside, it's a pretty good song. There's not much else to say. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I just think it's good. I give this one a 7 out of 10. Now, all in all, this album is pretty damn good. It has its ups, and it certainly has its downs, but ultimately I say it's worth a listen. If not solely for its historical status, then mostly because it's a pretty good record. This practically was the proto-power metal album, transitioning what was then known as speed metal into what we now know as power metal. A little bit of Priest and Maiden, a bit of Scorpions, and a good dose of Malmsteen with some thrash elements thrown in as well. Kai Hansen isn't the greatest singer in the world, especially compared to his successors, Michael Kiske and Andy Darius, but his voice isn't bad by any measure, and it actually fits quite well for the way the album sounds. Like, as much as we all love the Keeper albums and will always hold them in the highest regard, I don't think anyone could really picture Kiske singing these songs by himself. Maybe Darius, maybe some of it Darius, but not Kiske. It's just not written that way. It's not written the way the Keeper records are. And Kai's voice just suits this particular album better because it was written for his vocal range and cadence. That's likely why Helloween, in their current iteration as a supergroup, as I stated earlier, usually they have Hansen singing a medley of these songs from this first album solo during the band's live shows on tour. Give or take one or two songs that have been adapted to accommodate duets with both Kishke and Darius, like as I said earlier, How Many Tears, and a few other songs as well. And yeah, I definitely recommend this album to those who those who want to hear where the band first started, or want to experience the early seeds of what would become the power metal genre. If anyone finds themselves taking a liking to this record, I would highly recommend that you check out the band Gamma Ray, which features Kai Hansen on both guitar and vocals for a majority of their discography. Sans the Ralph Scheepers era, which is like the first 3 or 4 albums where Hansen only played guitar, but for most of their discography, he sings as well as plays guitar. The music is pretty much a continuation of what began with the first 3 Helloween albums. You could go directly from Keepers 2 into Gamma Ray, or hell, you could just not even listen to Keepers 2 if you don't want to listen to Kishke and you want to get a closer sound. Like if you listen to the Keepers albums and then go to Gamma Ray, you'll have an idea of what the music will sound like as a whole. But if you go from Walls of Jericho to Gamma Ray, you'll get a much better idea of what it's going to sound like if you go directly from Walls of Jericho to like Power Plant or Somewhere Out in Space, that era where Hansen is singing and playing guitar. It's like a direct continuation. It's undeniable. It might not be for everyone, but if you like this, you will like that. I can pretty much guarantee it. I give this record an 8 out of 10. I'd like to take a moment to thank my editor for all his hard work, and thank you all for your time as well. I sincerely appreciate it. Join me next week as we continue Helloween month with a review of the album that solidified the full transition from speed metal to power metal, 1987's Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. I hope you all are enjoying autumn. I hope you all are enjoying October and all the Halloween festivities to come. Until next week, everyone, be safe, take care of yourselves and each other.